What's up, guys? It's me, it's that ERIC. I am the People's co-host, Eric Barnes. This is Raw's EBar, so let's get started. Alright, so the show began with the first official edition of the Ambrose Asylum, and his guest is who else but the man who lost at WrestleMania and has been running Raw ever since, Shane McMahon. Yes, he is still around due to social media support, but I kind of feel like if it was social media support that's keeping him around, wouldn't we have gotten rid of the Authority years ago? I mean, whatever. If that's your logic, that's fine. So, you know, he comes out there talking a little bit about this new era and whatnot, and then Kevin Owens comes out because, you know, he and Shane have a little bit of beef, although Shane claims that he doesn't have a problem with Kevin Owens, so that's that. Kevin Owens comes out, he's a little bit upset, he's perturbed because he was taken out of the building last week. Of course, on SmackDown, he had free reign to interfere in the main event match of Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn because apparently SmackDown has no authority figures and just runs on its own. That's all I can surmise from that. So Owens comes out, then Sami Zayn comes out, and Sami doesn't get in many words before Chris Jericho comes out. Basically, he tells Sami Zayn nobody cares about his feelings, he's an idiot, you know, just being Chris Jericho. And last week I had said that I wasn't sure about the whole Ambrose Asylum thing because often with the talk shows, it will put wrestlers into feuds that really don't have anything to do with them, like, and they will just have less going on themselves, and they just keep getting mixed up with other people's feuds. And that happens slightly with this, but I'm totally cool with it because really what it was to further the story between Ambrose and Jericho, and that's cool. Let's see. So Shane then announced that at Payback it was going to be Zayn versus Owens, which we've all wanted. Would it have been cooler with the Intercontinental title in the mix? Probably, but this is still going to be an awesome match. And then Ambrose versus Jericho also at Payback, which I'm looking forward to as well. So 2 good matches so far, booked for Payback. And that's how the show began. So the beginning segment led straight into Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn. We got a rematch here from the main event of SmackDown that actually wasn't interrupted by Kevin Owens this time around. So that's a good thing. This was a great match. I really enjoyed it. But what do you expect from these two? Obviously, they were going to put on a good match. I like that they were given time. I thought that this was a really good way to start the show with this match. So, really enjoyed that. Some people were a little bit upset that Jericho beat Sami Zayn, like talking about how he's like holding down younger talent or something. But this is Chris Jericho, okay? He's not exactly... He is a part-timer, but since he's been back, he's been on a full-time schedule. So he's just as much deserving of wins as anybody else, number one. Number two, he's won so many championships that I can't keep count. So I don't think that losing to Chris Jericho is a detriment to Sami Zayn in any way. Alright, so next, Enzo and Cass beat the Dudleys to go on to the finals of the tag team tournament. And the finals are being held at Payback, which seems a little bit strange to me. They have a whole nother week before Payback, so why wouldn't they hold the finals beforehand and then just have a team fresh for their championship match at Payback? That didn't really make sense to me, but, you know, what do I know? I'm guessing maybe they'll use this so that they can have the New Day interact with Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillians next week somehow, possibly. I don't know. I was kind of confused that the finals are at Payback. But this was a decent match, and I just figure that with all the trash talking that's gone on so far since Enzo and Cass have debuted between them and the Dudleys, I don't feel like this is the last interaction that we're going to see between these two teams. Honestly, I hope that it's not. I found it pretty entertaining. But I guess we'll see. Is it possible that the Dudleys could have some tables for Enzo and Cass come Payback? I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. So a little bit earlier in the show, we got to see AJ have a little bit of a reunion with his Bullet Club buddies. So then Roman Reigns comes out, and it's time for another Roman Reigns promo.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So here's how I look at it. If this whole I'm not the good guy, I'm not the bad guy, I'm just the guy thing is Roman's new catchphrase, someone needs to tell him to drop his catchphrase at the end of his promo and not at the beginning, because whenever he started off, I honestly thought that he was trolling us. Like, I felt it was to that point that he knew that we all hated it so much that he's just trolling us. But say the catchphrase at the end of the promo. You never heard Stone Cold Steve Austin say, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so, and here's what's gonna happen at the pay-per-view. No, that doesn't make sense. It was never, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, so at Payback, here's what, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Save it for the end. Putting the catchphrase at the end of a promo kind of just puts some emphasis, kind of gives it that mic drop moment at the end of the promo that you need. Believe that.
Believe in the Shield!
So Roman says that we're in the era of the Roman Empire. And he says that now we're here to stay. So who's we? What's going on? Is that a little slipperoonie? So AJ comes out, and we actually finally get some interaction between the World Heavyweight Champion and the #1 contender. What was it, 2 weeks ago that AJ became #1 contender? And I feel like they've talked about it a little bit here and there, but finally they come face to face. AJ tries to put Roman over in the beginning of the promo, which obviously the crowd hates. Why are you trying to do it? I get what they're trying to do, but just give it up at this point. You know what I mean? I thought that AJ's promo, you know, about having the match of his life, and that's what he does, is have the match of his life, and, you know, I don't know. I thought that was a really, really good promo from AJ. You know, I mean, it's not setting the world on fire, but it was a good promo for the build-up to this. Then, you know, it was a decent back and forth. Roman is Roman. He's not going outside of his comfort zone to try anything new at this point. So his whole side of it, obviously not terrific. He got booed no matter what he said. But it's not the worst I've seen from Roman. It's just definitely not up to par with what I expect a WWE champion to be able to pull off in the promo department. If you're the champion, you should be able to talk. So that's when AJ heads back up the ramp, and Gallows and Anderson attack Roman from behind, and it's awesome. AJ, he looks back, he seems confused, and in the back he's telling Roman that he had nothing to do with it. Whatever. Whether he did or he didn't, it doesn't really matter. AJ's talented. He's earned what he's gotten up to this point. And as stupid as the WWE thinks that its fans are, we realize that about AJ Styles, that he has paid his dues and he's very talented. It really doesn't matter what AJ does or doesn't do, who he sent to attack or who he didn't send. He's not going to be the heel whenever it comes down to Roman and AJ Styles. He's just not. So I don't know if that's what they're attempting here, but it's not going to happen. So it looks like Fandango was the latest to be fed to Baron Corbin. one of the latest call-ups, obviously. What I find more interesting is the feud that's developing between Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. I'm assuming we'll probably see them go one-on-one at Payback. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. I do have to say that I think that Corbin's debut has been way more interesting than, like, Apollo Crews. Apollo's basically just been beating up the social outcast. Honestly, I think it would have been more interesting if Apollo had lost his match on Raw and joined the social outcast. But, Anyway, Corbin, he's beating jobbers so far as well. I mean, Apollo's beating jobbers basically, and that's what Baron Corbin's doing at this point after his debut. But there is an underlying feud beneath it that started the night that he debuted, and I feel that makes his character much more effective at this point so far. Next, Miz and Maryse were out for Miz TV, and basically just going on about how great each other are, just blowing each other basically, until Cesaro comes out. And Cesaro tells us that he's all out of bubblegum. And that means that he's ready to fight. But Miz does not want to fight. Because Cesaro's got a match with Rusev already. Cesaro, though, he talked to Shane McMahon. He got this turned into an 8-man tag team match with the WWE World Tag Team Champions. So, that's cool. I mean, it's kind of weird because, like, New Day are so entertaining and they're my favorite thing. But right now, they really don't have anything going on because they're kind of spinning their wheels, waiting to see who their number one contender is going to be. I didn't hate this match. Honestly, like 8-man tag matches, there's a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes I get kind of zoned out, but this was a pretty good one. And like I said, it keeps New Day from spinning their wheels. Cesaro gets the pin, so Cesaro's still looking good since his return. I think these were all good things in this match. So next we had another eight not divas, not an 8-man tag. It was a eight superstar tag team match that had Becky Lynch, Paige, Natalya, and Sasha Banks going over Naomi, Tamina, Summer Rae, and Charlotte. But before that, Charlotte was having an interview backstage where Natalya comes up and announces that she's going to have somebody in her corner at Payback, because at Payback, Natalya is getting another title shot. And I can't say she doesn't deserve it after what happened last week with the ref. So that's cool. But she's not coming alone. Since Charlotte's always bringing Ric Flair, Natty is bringing Bret the Hitman Hart. So during the match, Natalya makes Charlotte tap out to the sharpshooter. And since technically Charlotte has now tapped out twice to the sharpshooter, there's no way Natty's winning at Payback. Not that I thought that she would anyway, but come on. Let's see. Also, what I wanted to mention, something that was strange, was that WWE was advertising Paige versus Becky Lynch for this show, and just didn't happen. And nobody explained it. Like, Becky Lynch, or Emma tweeted first about it, and then Becky Lynch tweeted back to her about it, and the WWE were advertising it. So for it just not to happen with no explanation, that was kind of strange, but hey, what are you going to do? It's WWE, eh? So next, the Vaudevillians defeated the Usos to go on to the finals to meet Enzo and Cass at Payback in the tag team tournament. So, decent match, nothing wrong with the match. And I think that both the Vaudevillains are talented. I just don't think that this gimmick was ready for prime time, really. It kind of seems like the audience doesn't fully understand exactly what the gimmick is going for. And it is a strange gimmick, so I can't blame, just normal fans not fully understanding what's going on. And they also had to change their music from the little ragtime stuff once the dramatic part of their entrance is over to kind of William Regal-esque type tones going. Like, hey, were bad. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. The music change really didn't seem to help. They're not getting much of a reaction from the crowd. Maybe if we got to see more of their personalities, you know, like in backstage segments or something like that, that would help somewhat. But this gimmick on the WWE roster, I just don't know if it's ready or if it ever will be. And in our main event of the evening, we got Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose. This was a terrific match. I really enjoyed it a lot, but honestly, I expected it to be great because we've seen these two battle before, and both we know that individually they're great wrestlers, so it was cool. Ambrose got the win. Chris Jericho comes out, hits Ambrose with a code breaker, and Jericho standing tall as Raw goes off the air. Honestly, I thought this was a really good episode of Raw. Better than the past 2 weeks. Like, Raw after Mania, to me, was a really, I'd say, huge letdown. Like, for what I was expecting versus what they delivered on that night, letdown. But it seems like it's been getting progressively better since then, and I really enjoyed Raw. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoyed at all, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Other than that, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next week.
If you smell